Hello, and welcome to the Q&A that I've created as a result of reaching the 20,000 subscriber milestone. I would like to thank everyone in the community for supporting my videos, as well as just making our time here in the Battle Cats community a better place. Before we begin, I would like to shout out a sponsor for this video. Unfortunately, I don't have one, so sponsors, please contact me and give me money. Anyways, this Q&A will be divided into two sections. The first will be casual Battle Cats related questions, and the second will be unrelated questions. Also, I have one question for you guys. Why are there so many multi-question posts? You know I can't answer all of them. Oh well, let's begin. How long have you been playing Battle Cats? When did you first discover Battle Cats, and what made you interested by it? Battle Cats isn't a perfect game, but what made you like the game despite its flaws? I've been playing Battle Cats since the EN release in 2014, mostly on and off. When I first discovered Battle Cats, I just liked the gameplay a lot. It was simple, fun, and unique. I had played other tower defense games before, but none of them were really like the line battle games that Battle Cats is. To this day, what makes me like Battle Cats is just how in-depth the strategizing can go. You take some pretty simple stage elements, and you build a lineup with 10 units that can do all different things to beat a stage in many ways. It's one of the best games in my opinion for just making you good at game theory and strategizing in general. Also, it's just really fun for me, and has a lot of content. In your opinion, what is the most well-designed Uber? This might be a bit of a popular pick, but I think Balrog handles power in a very well-designed way. He's a unit which you can have varied amounts of output depending on the field conditions and what the user sets up. For example, in a spam stage he might land no hits, but with support from T-Bolt or Rock timings, you can sneak in one or multiple powerful hits that have impact. The power of Balrog depends on how good you are at supporting the unit, which is both an important skill and something that players will develop as they continue playing. It's like how back then you'd see talentless Balrog at around B tier or lower on lists, but now you always see him at the very top. It's not that Balrog was actually that bad back then. He was always good, and while talent certainly helped him rise, it's also just a change in how people played the game which made him one of the strongest units in the game. We're the ones who make Balrog as good as he is, and for that reason, he's my choice for the best designed Uber. Other honorable mentions go to Gaia the Creator, Gundros, and Thunderjack. Favorite Luga, opinions on Shishilan, and what is a cat you would like to receive Ultra Form or Ultra Talents. My favorite Luga is Lufalan because he's the most fun one for me to use, as well as just nostalgia from being the boss killer. I think Shishilan had a pretty sad tale. He used to be a good Uber, but as the game changed, a lot of stage aspects hard counter his design, which makes him not just weaker, but also much more annoying to use. And for an Ultra Form, come on Ponos. We have got to make Cat Clan heroes good again. Give him Target All. Give him Strong. You can do it. What stage did you struggle with back in the day that still gives you war flashbacks? Celestial Seas was a terrible stage to play back then. It really just felt like throwing random shit at a wall and then winning the lottery to get past it. I know it's nowhere near as hard nowadays, but I still hate playing spammy and oppressive stages like it. What are your top 3 favorite enemy traits based on design? Based on visual or mechanical design is the question. Mechanically, I'd say Alien, Black, and then Traitless. For visual design, Aku, Relic, and funnily enough, Behemoth actually. Do you think Battle Cats is ever going to be replaced? And would you do a deep dive into Knockback as a crowd control ability? I actually think Battle Cats won't ever be replaced, at least not for a long time, because it's the king of its genre. Not exactly tower defense, but of this line battle genre where you deploy units along a 2D lane to fight others. There used to be similar mobile games a long time ago, but nowadays Battle Cats seems to be the only big one. As for a video on Knockback, I already covered most of what I wanted in my Misley Syndrome video, so I don't think I'll make another. In your story bosses worst to best, you forgot Relic Bun Bun. Where would you put him in your ranking? So this is actually a fun video to come back to because my list has changed a lot with the new additions. Relic Bun I'd put somewhere low, probably below Lil Nyandam, and Mimin, Insanglian, Relic Ural, and Saraki's would all be pretty low as well. while Dr. Nova would be high. EDNX would be somewhere in the middle, and I would also definitely make some placement changes to other bosses, like moving Luza up to 2nd place, a placement that he definitely deserves as time goes on. You've seemed to enjoy the BCU tournament. Would you ever hold your own tournament? So the thing is, I already did, and a video on it will come out in not too long, maybe like a month or two. What do you prefer, Legend Quest or Underground Labyrinth? I like Legend Quest more because you don't need a billion units to clear it, and I just have more fun working towards beating a stage with whatever random units the game gives me. What's the hardest BCU pack or level you've beaten? I beat Heinous Road no Gacha in BCU, but if you want a custom level, then probably one of the floors in Suga Tower. What is your favorite OST in this game? Power Pro Baseball, but if you don't want collab, then it's floor 50. What's your favorite Battle Cats enemy? Mr. Puffington, because he's a unique, fair, and impactful enemy. Also, I just like pufferfish. Praise Puffer. In your opinion, what is the best gimmick stage? The best gimmick stage is Twilight Zephyr. Having a boss rush right at the end of Stories of Legend with Bun Bun as the final boss is just a really cool experience. And the stage also feels nice to play. Honorable mention to Glass Slippers, which is a cool stage but not exactly the most gimmicky. What is your favorite stage? My favorite stage is Floor 40 from Heavenly Tower. Although some people despise it, the adrenaline rush you get from just clearing or getting far into such a stage is irreplaceable. It's a thrilling experience which might be frustrating at first, but for some people it's just pretty damn fun. What's your favorite Battle Cats collab? And what collab would you like to see Battle Cats go with the most? My favorite Battle Cats collab is Evangelion, as the bosses, units, and just franchise in general is something I'm a big fan of. While a collab I'm still waiting to for this day, as many others are, is JoJo. If a Battle Cats character got into Smash, who do you think it would be? Awaken Bahamut. He's the most fighter-like physique and is pretty much the icon of Battle Cats at this point. If you have to fight someone from Battle Cats in real life, who would give you the hardest fight? Probably you can. I don't have any way to destroy his extremely strong barrier, and he would also have insane stats because I have no crystals. Maybe I could do 1 damage to other enemies, but I don't think I'll be able to do anything to Yukan. Is there any specific thing you would want a Battle Cats update to have? I was gonna ask for special legend talents, but with Valk and Bahamut getting them, it seems like my wish has already come. Besides that, I'm always out on the lookout for stages that are extremely hard but also very fun to play, which we haven't gotten many of in the past while. What is the least interesting Uber Rare design in your opinion? Megidora is just a boring generic dragon, and is also extremely boring mechanics-wise, so I'd go with him. Do you think 3-star UL is fair, with gacha or no gacha? While it was much rougher on release, I actually do think 3-star UL is definitely fair nowadays, even with no gacha. In fact, I actually think Ponos should release Starred ZL because I like trying to solve near impossible challenges sometimes. But I guess most of the community just isn't a fan of stuff like that. What's your favorite banner? What's your favorite Uber from that banner? And what do you think about Legend Rares? My favorite banner is Dark Heroes because I like their form swapping gimmick, as well as just the designs. From that banner in specific, my favorite Uber is Thunderjack. When it comes to Legend Rares, I actually like a lot of the individual units from a design and mechanical standpoint, but I just really wish Ponos gave them more love as they seem quite abandoned. There's only 2 true forms so far, and you can't even Dark Eye them to 60. Do you think Courier has ruined some stages, and do you prefer Slime or Jellycat? Although Courier has Thanos snapped away a ton of red stages and more, I kind of think that power creep is inevitable and was bound to happen anyways. I'm more just upset that Courier has permanently made some enemies like Cappy no longer a threat. Also, I'm on Team Slime. If you could add 1 trait into the game, what would it be, and would it have any special gimmicks? Off the top of my head, it would probably be the brown wooden trait. which would finally use healing abilities and probably have light armor with flat damage reduction. How do you not get bored from Battle Cats? I actually do get bored by Battle Cats now and then, so I play other games or just do other stuff. I actually don't play Battle Cats that much nowadays, and most of my time for videos and stuff is just spent on Battle Cats Ultimate recording for background footage. Do you remember your first ever Uber rare? It was Masamune, an Uber back then who was so bad he turned me into a no Ubers player. Go figure. What is your least favorite cat to use in the game that is competitively viable? Not quite sure what you mean by competitively viable, but Phono is the most unfun Uber I've ever touched. He kinda just outranges and kills everything without brain usage required. Every other top Uber has at least something special or cool about them, but Phono is basically just a backliner on steroids. Has your opinion on behemoths changed at all? Yeah, I think it has. I don't really dislike behemoths as much anymore, mainly due to the fact that Ponos never really used them in too offensive of a manner, and that the new egg units we got were decent counters. While they are certainly flawed, I do think they are a good part of the game now. And last for the Battle Cats questions, but certainly not least, out of all the Uber rares, which one would you like to be trapped in a hot spring with the most? So this is actually a question we can test. Let's assume that the only two units in that hot spring are myself and the other Uber. I would be Can because I'm canned, and at max level because I'm a gamer. Now, what other Uber can I beat Hot Spring Reception 1-star with? That's our question. The answers include but are not limited to Hellward and Emma, Sirius, and of course, Dazzly. Always Dazzly. Oh, and before I start this section, I'll answer a few questions that nobody asked. My editing software is DaVinci Resolve, the free version. I record footage using OBS and BCU, or a BlueStacks emulated version of Battle Cats. But I stream from my phone using a Chromecast to connect my phone screen to OBS. Oh yeah, and for those who are wondering, I do not seed track. Now let's begin this section. How did you first get into Battle Cats or content creation? I first learned about Battle Cats when my sister showed me the game, and while she quit after like a week, here I still am over a decade. For content creation, I was very much into YouTubers and videos when I was young, so I made videos of IO games originally, then Geometry Dash, and then random shitposts or memes after that, which I think got a little bit of traction, before eventually going back to Battle Cats after I got back into the game as a whole. Have you ever considered doing other games or even other genres of videos on YouTube? I haven't really found a video game I could make videos on that would be in-depth as Battle Cats, as this is a game I've spent years playing and I've gotten all of the experience at. But if I happen to find a game that interests me like it, then maybe I'll make videos on that. As for other genres, I plan on eventually doing indie game reviews, but I think I'll stick to Battle Cats for a while now just to grow my audience out before starting that. What's your favorite tower defense game? My favorite tower defense game is probably Defense Grid, a pretty old tower defense game that I played as a kid, and it's one that isn't very complex, but it is fun. I'll also give a shout out to both the Balloons and PvZ series games though, for similar reasons. There's been a couple Geometry Dash references in a few of your videos. What's your history or skill set with that game? I played Geometry Dash a lot when I was younger, mostly on and off, just like my experience with Battle Cats. I never really had a set goal in that game, I kinda just made random layout levels and chilled for the most part. Hardest demon would probably be Future Circles, but my hardest run is definitely Congregation from 42 to 100. I also played on 60Hz, so I despise the ship game mode, and even though 2.2 is out, I still think the ship sucks. Have you ever played Guardian Tales? I've not played Guardian Tales, I have heard of that game, but I'm not interested, so don't expect me to try it out. What's your music taste, and what other specific games or game genres do you enjoy? For music, I mostly listen to rap, synthwave, and sometimes even Newgrounds artists now and then. mostly due to growing up with GD. In particular, Kendrick Lamar, Denzel Curry, Home, Creo, and Korai are the ones that I listen to the most. For game genres, I usually like roguelikes, platformers, and strategy games. Those tend to be my favorites. A few example games include Risk of Rain 2, both Mario Maker games, The End is Nigh, and StarCraft games. What's your favorite game besides Battle Cats? And do you own a cat? Funny how you say besides Battle Cats, but my 4 tied favorite games have to be Terraria, Geometry Dash, StarCraft 2, and well, Battle Cats. And unfortunately, I do not own a cat. Did you enjoy making the plus 1 hour long videos, and do you plan to make more? Also, opinions on Made in Abyss. Depends on the video. Some of the longer ones, like the Legend Rare video, was pretty painful to make, while others I had a lot of fun with, like the tournament video. History of the Hardest Stage was kind of both. Painful to make just from the sheer size and research I needed, but was extremely gratifying and pretty fun to complete. I will make more in the future on big topics, but probably not as the norm so that I don't go insane. As for Made in Abyss, it's a great anime that I would recommend, but probably not for the faint of heart. What do you think is your most well-constructed video, and which one was your favorite to make? I think my most well-constructed video is probably History of the Hardest Stage in Battle Cats, and also frame-perfect interactions if you want a shorter video. My favorite to make was probably the Battle Cats tournament video, since it was much more free flow. In your opinion, which Battle Cats YouTuber is your favorite? Myself, of course. But besides that, I think I'll have to go with Game Changer, the definitive best Battle Cats YouTuber. What's your opinion on VTubers? Also try Lobster. I never really liked VTubers as they just feel mismatched to combine a usually energetic streamer or YouTuber with an artificial vessel. It just gives me the wrong vibes. For the other question, I have tried it, but I just don't really like lobster. It's one of the few meats I'll usually try to avoid. Baked potatoes or mashed potatoes? I like both of them a lot, but probably mashed potatoes if you have gravy. Favorite food? Spaghetti, but takoyaki, okonomiyaki, and a bunch of other Japanese foods come really close. Will you answer my question? Maybe. How are you doing today? Good. Can you give me $50? Check the mail tomorrow. You like onions? Yeah, onions are the best vegetable. Have you hit the gritty? Of course. Notice me. Hello, Zuggy. Where did you get your alias, canned juice, from? I just made it up. Simple as that. Combine random words, and here you go. What are your thoughts on the Battle Cats community? What do you want to see more of from it? I think the Battle Cats community has a lot of pretty cool people, and is generally a pretty decent place. I would say it gets a bit too toxic at times, but I would attribute this less to any individual's actions, and more of just it being a kids game community. As for what I'd like to see more of, I think it would be cool to see lots of experimentation and creative ideas. A lot of the existing content on Battle Cats YouTube is pretty derivative of already existing content, so people trying something that no one has really done before would be fun to watch. Also just more collaborations with each other. Those are always fun. And finally, most importantly, are you Souptasta? No. I don't even think I sound like him, so I have no idea where that idea started. But it is what it is. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and thanks again for 20,000 subscribers. If your question didn't make it into the video, it was probably either too similar to one that I answered in the video, or it was just too controversial or too personal for me to answer. I hope you all enjoyed watching my long overdue Q&A subspecial, and have a good day.